Hey everybody, I'm Aquaman, and on today's episode we're going to be talking about water on a through hike. Stay tuned. And welcome back. If you don't know who I am, I'm Aquaman. If you didn't see the episode about my description of why I'm Aquaman, I'll hopefully have the video up here so you guys can get the who, when, why, and how of why I'm Aquaman and why I'm doing a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. Now, it is almost Christmas time. I am today, as of today, 80 days out from my start date, which will be March 6th. So I wanted to talk a little bit about water and how water works on the Appalachian Trail. I did a section hike back in October and got a pretty good wake-up call about water on the Appalachian Trail and how you get it, how you filter it, how much you need, how much you probably don't need, and so we're going to talk about some of those things today. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about filtration. Now, the way I choose to filter water is something called the Sawyer. And this is the regular Sawyer. Now, we'll get into a story in a bit about this, but love this little device. When it works great. And there are different versions. This is the standard Sawyer. This is the Sawyer Mini, or this is an older version of it. And both of these can be hooked directly onto smart water bottles or put into bladder systems. I prefer to use a water bottle system. And we're going to talk about a hack that I came up with for water use later on. And the Sawyer, when you buy this thing, comes in a kit that has a whole bunch of parts and pieces. It comes with these disposable, I call them disposable because of the fact that they break fairly easy. It comes with a syringe. It comes with a generic sports bottles cap. So, but we're going to talk about some of these things. First of all, I'm going to tell you right off the bat that from my own experience and from talking to other hikers, the bag that comes with the Sawyer Squeeze is not worth the money they put into this. And the other item, the syringe, if you're trying to save weight, from what I've been told, I haven't experienced it yet, but that most hostels and sometimes other hikers will have this. So when you need to backwash, you should be able to do it at other hostel locations. If not, feel free to bring it with you to do your own backwashing. And it's a simple procedure using clean, fresh water. You're just basically going to hook it to the front and you're going to force water through, shake it out really good. What you basically do is you use really, really warm, not boiling water, but really hot water when you do the flush if you can. And that'll help break up the material that is clogged into the filter. So try to do it that way. That'll help a lot with cleaning out the filter. Because otherwise you'll clean it out with just regular water and you won't see anything. But when you use hot water, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff come out. And then you'll really know how well it works. Now, instead of using the supplied bag, what some people will do is have two bottles. One will be their dirty side, one will be their clean side bottle. Just to keep the confusion down, I just stick with a clean bottle only. And then I use this. It's a Cnoc Outdoors bladder, and it works really well. You open the top up like so. So you can easily get it scooped into any water body and or any little trickle, whereas the other one is really hard to get it in. This one here, you can fill this whole thing up. If you get a lot of particulate matter in here, what I usually do will try to find a closer location to the actual source of the water. But again, try to get as little particulate matter in as possible. You scoop it up, you basically fold it over, you take the clip, make sure I do this right. Yeah. Then you take the clip, it only goes on one way until it locks, and then you hook your Sawyer to the other end. and then you proceed to squeeze it into your whatever you need to squeeze it into, and you can even roll it down as you go to add a little bit more pressure to get it to force through even better. So that's how I work it. And again, I carry two, actually I'm going to talk a little fun water in, water out situation. I actually carry 3 different bottles when I'm on trail. Now, this is the one that'll go into my carrier, which I carry right here. I use the sports bottle tip that has a little locking cap on it that keeps dirt and debris out of it. I can pop it open, drink what I need, close it, put it back in, and I'm good to go. This one here is my resupply bottle. I use this one when, let's say I'm along the way, it's another few miles before I get to a good water source, but I've already drank my water, I need water. I can always pull this one out of my pack and refill. Now this one here is a full liter, so it does add weight, but for me, water is important, so obviously as Aquaman, and so therefore I make sure that I always carry plenty of water with me. This is also my cooking bottle, and when I'm done I'm going to go through a little hack as to how I use this for my meal prep. My third bottle is an old style Gatorade bottle or Powerade bottle, whichever you prefer, and the reason being it has a wide mouth on it and it has a texture to it, a different texture to it. Now, this is my water out bottle. Now, what do I mean by water out? Well, this is my water in. In the middle of the night, let's say it's really cold out, instead of having to get out of my sleeping bag, get out of my tent, and trek off a way to go to the bathroom, this is, it's a journal. And that is why I use a bottle with a texture on it and a wide mouth. So that way, in the middle of the night, instead of having to grab my headlamp and wake other people up around me by trying to find it, I can just by reach know that this is the correct bottle and use what I need to do, cap it off really well, and then in the morning find an adequate place away from a water source that I can dump it out and rinse it out. So that's why I use a completely different type of bottle other than the ones that I use for both drinking and cooking with. So that's it. And a wide mouth makes it much easier, especially when you're tired and half asleep. Okay, let's talk about cooking. Water is, for me, going to be important because of the things that I'm going to cook will require, I'm going to use dehydrated meals, so therefore I need to use water. Well, the directions on there may say 1 cup, 2 cup of water, and or for, let's say, coffee in the morning. Well, the cup that I use, and I use a titanium cup, and this is just something I found off Amazon. It was fairly cheap. I don't even think it has a brand name on it. If it does, let's see. Yeah, don't even see a brand name on here. So for this, let's say I want to make exactly 1 cup of hot cocoa or coffee in the morning. Well, trying to find the marks in here, especially if it's before dawn, can be difficult. So what I did to cook, and by the way, my cooking system of choice is the jet boil. I swear by this. I know this is for the ultralight hikers out there. They'll thumb their noses at it, but this has saved me a lot of work. It works great. It's fast, super fast on getting cooked or getting boiled water so I can cook with. It's got this great little thing on the outside here that as the water boils, you'll see an orange line actually move all the way up until it actually is completely hot. So I can go off, do other things, pack up my stuff or unpack my stuff and know when the water in here is boiling so that I don't have to keep coming back and checking on it. I can just set it and forget it for a couple minutes, come back and be good to go. So that's my cooking system. But even so, this also is hard to read the markers inside. So what I did, and this was my little hack, is I went ahead and took measuring cup, a funnel, and a piece of electrical tape and a Sharpie. I forgot the Sharpie. And what I did, put the funnel in, filled up 1 cup of water, filled the bottle up. I put the tape right at the water line, took the Sharpie, marked it, take the tape off, right on there how many cups that was. Then I do 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup, 4 cup, and pull the tape off each time. And this way now I know exactly how many cups of water I'm working with. Then I took packing tape, and I put packing tape, clear packing tape, over my marks so that I don't accidentally rub them off as time goes on. So over time, I'm sure on trail I'll kind of be able to eyeball it in case it does wear down or I need a new bottle and I don't have time to do the setup. But for starting, this is an important way for me to keep my measurements. And I also did the same on my standard bottle, the drink bottle. So that way I know, well, I know 3 cups of water out of here will fill this all the way up. So I know if I use this, if I fill this all the way up, I will use from the cap down to the line here. That'll basically be my my morning brushing my teeth water. That's enough to wet the brush and enough to get a swish of water, and again get rid of it. Then it'll give me 1 cup to cook my coffee or my oatmeal or my hot cocoa, whatever I decide to use for the morning. And then I can use the other 3 cups to fill up this bottle. So that way, this 1 bottle filled up before I go to bed at night. As long as, in freezing conditions, I keep this inside my my sleeping bag so it doesn't freeze. I know in the morning I'll be able to top off my drinking bottle for the day. So that's kind of my little hack on keeping water measurements for my trip. Let's see what else I've got. Okay, as far as water is concerned, I have 2 different things I'm going to be using on trail. This one here, let's start with this one. This is an energy multiplier. This one I used when I did my section hike, and it's just a little packet. You pour it into the water. This one here is cool because it turns the water like seaweed green. So when you're drinking it around people, you get the weirdest looks that like, what are you drinking? And this one is great. It has a great blend in there. It's got, let's see what it's got on in here. I want to make sure I get it right. It's got maca, it's got Goya, it's got ginger. And this one here is like a supercharged energy drink. Love this stuff. Works really well. Anytime we were getting ready to go and do another peak, I would drink this and it would help get me up the hill. Then at night, the last bottle of water I'm going to drink for the night, I grabbed this one here. And this is a hydration multiplier, and this one is electrolyte. So this will keep me from basically cramping up in the middle of the night, and it helps me wake up fully hydrated, ready to go for the next day, so I don't start at a liquid deficit. So those are a couple of things I'm going to be bringing with me. These are, of course, extra weight. I won't carry the whole bag. I'll carry some at a time. I know a lot of the experienced thru hikers say don't worry about sending boxes ahead, but I will probably do that with some of these, and that way I have like points that I can get to these. Over time, I'm sure it'll just become troublesome and I won't use them anymore, but for now, that's my goal, is to use those. All right, now story time. And this is kind of an embarrassing story about my trip. I had a problem right off the bat. I was doing a section hike from the falls all the way through Springer Mountain, all the way to Neal Gap. And we're just going to spend a few days out there getting a shakedown of my gear for my March through hike. And went through all my water and came to the first water stop just past Hawk Mountain Shelter, and got all the way down, filled up the bladder, screwed on the Sawyer, went to squeeze, and nothing happened. Meaning not even a drop came out. Now, don't know what happened exactly, but my Sawyer failed. Okay, I'd never heard of that happening before. I later on went to REI, and REI said it's rare, it does happen. So I did contact Sawyer. They did send me a new one. So I was like, okay, and that was the only water purifier that I had. So I was kind of in trouble. And luckily for me, I was sitting there perplexed as to what to do, and here comes this group, this couple who were who were southbound and just finishing up their section hike. they were going to be hitting Springer and the falls later that day, and they said, yeah, we got 2 of them, and here, take this one. And this is exactly the one they gave it. I wish I had their name right now. I can't remember it off the top of my head. They gave me this one. I tested it. This one actually did work. But it's a mini, so it doesn't work as great as the standard. But it got me back in the game. So had it not been for this couple and they're having an extra and willing to give it up, I tried to get their address and all that to send it back. And they said, no, keep it. So this became a good luck charm. Now, they did actually have the syringe with them, so I did try to force water back through to see if that was it. And within a couple of days, it did start to work a little bit, but it wasn't at full capacity. It wasn't working as well as a Sawyer should. So, but between the 2, I was able to finish out my section hike, but that could have ended things really, really quickly. And it was the only piece of equipment that I had not tested before leaving on my hike, because I just assumed, and that's what happens when you assume you come into trouble, was I caught a bad piece of equipment and I hadn't tested. So, if I can give you any advice for a through hike or any hike adventure, is make sure you have tested each and every single piece of equipment prior to leaving, because there's nothing like losing a trip because of one faulty item. And water purification, especially on a trail like the Appalachian, can be a trail ender, or at least it can be a very big deterrent to continuing on for a while until you can get to somebody who has one or get a resupply place or an outfitter. So I got really, really lucky, and it was kind of a wake-up call, and I'm glad that now I do check everything out. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this one, and again, I hope to have a video out each week for you, and thanks for watching.